Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Today is Monday, December 2nd. Hope everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving holiday if you do celebrate here in the U.S. I had a great few days myself, had my little guy for an extended stretch, and we ate a lot of food, had some good family time, uh, played a lot of games, played a lot of Hot Wheels and race cars and whatnot. Just awesome. I'm still in that real special kind of sweet spot with this kid where toys are still relatively cheap. As we prepare for Christmas, he's still into the $2 Hot Wheel cars and the $5, whatever plastic toy that's out there. So I'm going to enjoy this as long as I have it because I know very quickly Christmas is going to get a heck of a lot more expensive. So anyway, had a great little break with him and back to work obviously today. So again, hope everybody had a lovely, lovely time out there. We know here in the NHL that Thanksgiving tends to be kind of a breaking point for a lot of teams. It's widely talked about that if you're in the playoffs at US Thanksgiving, you've got about a what is it, 75 or 78% chance of being in the playoffs. So I thought that for tonight, it would be a really fun exercise to take a look at where the playoff standings are today, what teams are in as of today, what teams are out as of today, and also kind of parlay those with my predictions from earlier this fall and just see how stupid I am. Because that's what predictions are. They're there to make us look stupid. And yeah, I obviously still have plenty of time to go, but thought it'd be a good barometer tonight just to see where the league stands and how things play out. So let's get started here. We look at the Atlantic Division as of today. It is Florida, Toronto, Boston, one, two, three. In the Metropolitan Division, you got Washington, a little bit of surprise for many, New Jersey and the Carolina Hurricanes, with the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers sitting in those wildcard spots. So very interesting there. Out west, you have one of my biggest surprises, hence the hat tonight, the Minnesota Wild, Winnipeg and Dallas, one, two, three there. Out in the Pacific, Vegas, LA, and the Vancouver Canucks, with Alberta basically taking the wild card with Edmonton and Calgary. So, yeah, fairly interesting board. I clearly don't think all these teams are going to survive this or be in the playoffs come April. But yeah, starting in the Atlantic, and I guess I'll say before that, the writing here in black are my predictions as to where I thought teams would be. So when I look at this, I had Boston, Florida, Toronto, Tampa as a wild card, Detroit as a wild card, Rangers, New Jersey, Washington. So what is that? Six? Let's see. One, two, three, four, five, six. So six out of the eight that are up there, I did actually have in the playoffs. New Jersey's the only one I have kind of pinned right now in that spot. Out west, it is a little bit of the wild, wild west. I did not have Minnesota for sure. We'll talk about that later. And one, two, three, four, five. Only five of the eight did I have picked for the playoffs out west. So what's that? 11 out of 16. Someone smarter than me can do the percentage on that. So probably not great. Not winning any pools or anything with those numbers. But yeah, let's look at the Atlantic Division, starting with Florida. As much as I hate to say it as a Boston fan, steady as she goes for the Panthers. No cup hangover here, guys. I guess if you just don't stop drinking and you just drink your way through the season, the hangover never hits, right? I kind of assume that's probably what they're doing. Um, Truth be told, though, I really thought that they would feel this a little bit more with the roster turnover, but they just haven't. They have a structure, they have a culture there with their head coach, and people come in, they just buy into that culture. They're gonna continue to be a hard out, come playoff time, so good on them. Moving over to Toronto, I've really been impressed with the goaltending. I think that, Stolars and Wall have both, have both played well. Stolarz is a 921 save percentage with a 233 goals against, and Wall has been 923 save percentage at 213 goals against. So good there. Can it hold up? I think is really the question. They have survived the Matthews injury with, still sitting right there in second place. And we know it's Toronto. None of this matters, right? It doesn't matter till the playoffs. This team could literally go 82 0 and score a billion goals and have 82 shutouts. And the fan base, and I'll say this rightfully so, the fan base would say, yeah, but what about the playoffs? They got to show us that in the playoffs. They just have to. Um, but so they're right about where kind of we all thought they would be, right? Second place in the Atlantic and right in the mix, right? For Boston, of course, everybody knows here I am a Bruins fan. I could have a whole 2-hour episode just on what I think about this team right now. They are somehow sitting third in this division, third for now. Tampa does have 3 games in hand on them, and Boston's sitting there at a minus 16 goal differential right now. Still, scoring's been an issue. We know that. It got Montgomery fired basically, but 2 of the last 3 games they have put up 6 goals per game. Had that 2-1 loss against Pittsburgh in between. Um, they are experiencing the coaching bump, I should say. Every team when they fire their coach, we see the team kind of respond to that. Boston's done that. They do seem like they're playing a little bit harder, harder defensive style, playing maybe a little bit more complete games, despite that Pittsburgh game where they give up the the goal there real late in the second period. Kind of some breakdowns there, but overall, I'm still seeing too many turnover issues, too many giveaway issues. I do need to see more from this team. I did have them first in the Atlantic, and I actually had them going all the way to the Eastern Conference Final. Um, right now, I would just take a playoff berth with this team. I have so many questions about this group overall, and so we'll see how it plays out. Maybe they've gotten their bad stretch behind them, and maybe they're starting to build something now with the coaching change and people getting acclimated and things of that nature. But we will see. Moving up over to the Metro Division, Washington Capitals. Now, this is catching a lot of people by surprise. Not me. This is one that I will give myself credit for. I was actually very high on Washington coming into the season. I thought they had a tremendous offseason for themselves. Picked up some, I think, really good players and really kind of rebuilt themselves. They because Matt Roy on the defensive side, I really like him a lot. I love what they got in net. And listen, they're surviving right now without Ovi. Ovi's had a really good start to the season. Was broken leg. I saw today he's already out skating on it, just like crazy Russian. He's just nuts. Um, just an absolute animal. We all hope he can get better soon and get back out there. He's just so fun to watch, and obviously chasing that Mr. Gretzky's record down. So we'll see about that. McMichael off to a great start for the team, though 14 goals, 10 assists for 24 points. And Dylan Strom, 8 goals, 26 assists for 34 points. They're getting good top end scoring, even now without Ovi out there. And overall, the depth is there. They've got 12 players with over 10 points. Awesome. Awesome to see this. Love the tandem in net with Lindgren and Thompson really helping them and carrying them a bit. I think I had them third. Yeah, I had them third in the Metro. So they're in first. Do they hold on to first? I'm not sure, but I fully expect them to be a playoff team and to be a tougher out, certainly a tougher out than they were a year ago. Moving on now to the New Jersey Devils, another team I had real high expectations of this season, and they're right about where I thought they would be. No worries here, guys. They are playing really good hockey. Brad and Hughes both over 30 points. Heischer's right behind them with 27. Much like with Washington, goaltending's been very solid overall with Markstrom coming over, Jake Allen there backing him up. And I do kind of feel like this team has another gear in them still. I really do. Um, this is my Eastern Conference champion right here. So I'm not surprised at all that they're playing as well as they are. Stay healthy. Keep Hughes healthy, keep Dougie Hamilton healthy. And I do think that defense is going to continue to mesh and blend. this is going to be a team that I think will get better as the year continues to go on. So now it's time to eat a little bit of crow for myself. The Carolina Hurricanes sitting third. Yeah, I had them out of the playoffs. Yeah, I was that one guy, right? There were a few other guys that had them out of the playoffs, but this one I did struggle with when it came to prediction time. But just no effect to the roster losses. And that's really a surprise to me. I thought that they would finally feel all those losses, with guys like, Pesci leaving and Gensel leaving and some others, right? I just thought it would be too much for them to overcome. But man, Marty Natchez, 37 points here, what is it, 25 assists, 12 goals for Natchez so far. Rostlovic with 12 goals. Kind of out of no place. Gostisbehere comes in on defense, fitting in nicely, 5, 14, 19 line for him. I just thought this roster was vulnerable. Again, they have a culture there, Brenda Moore is a coach and what he's all about. And now I've made him mad. Now I've made Brenda Moore mad. So, sorry, Rod, I didn't mean it. Can I take it back, please? Don't come kill me. I would appreciate that. But yeah, truth be told, all joking aside, we'll see that this playoff team though, they're just continuing to play hard, continuing to play in that style that they have over these years, and a little bit like Toronto, they kind of have to show you something in the playoffs. But yeah, there they are. There they are. Moving on now to the wild card teams, and oh boy, New York Rangers wild card one as of tonight. Some reasons for concern if you're a Rangers fan. I, I think so. I don't think this is at all where they thought they would be. I personally had them winning the Metro again this season. Aging roster, we know that. We know these windows get awfully short. It wasn't that long ago this team was rebuilding and growing, but they've been in their cup window now for 2 or 3 years, and team is starting to get a little bit older, kind of around the edges here, right? So much smoke around Chris Kreider right now. What is he? 9 goals, no assists on the season. All sorts of trade speculation, trade rumors about this guy. He's such a big part of what this team has been, part of their identity, part of their culture. No goals yet for Adam Fox, defenseman. Does have 20 assists, so it's not like he's not putting points up, but no goals for him. Man, the team, they just need more out of guys like Zibanejad and Trocheck, and probably a few others as well. Um, 4-6-0 over the past 10. Listen, man, big city, big expectations for this team. And this is what you have. It gets heavy early when you kind of play this sort of inconsistent hockey that you've seen out of them. And listen, for as good as he is as a coach, Peter Laviolette, his coached teams seem to play better earlier in his tenure and not later. I know we're only in year two, and I know you can say this about a lot of coaches. Like, no coach is getting fired because they're doing so well, right? But if you look at the data, it will show kind of a decline with every team he coaches as it goes. Like when he wins, and he's won a lot, trust me, he could coach my team any day of the week. I really do like him as a coach, but he wins early, not later. Um, the cup in Carolina that he won was year two. He got the Philadelphia Flyers to the Eastern Conference champion, or won the Eastern Conference, I should say, in year one of his tenure. Nashville won the West in year three, 3 out of 6. So it's just something to watch and something to be mindful of with this team. Um, you just expect more, and would love to hear from Ranger fans what your thoughts are. I haven't seen a lot of their games this year, but certainly following it, and yeah, not where we expected them to be at all. For the Philadelphia Flyers, what a good story here. A little bit like last year, they kind of hung around that playoff, picture for a bit. I can't see them holding on to this spot though. I think there's too many other teams behind them. Um, so I don't think they're going to hold on to it for long. But they do play a very hard style of hockey, and I do think they're building something positive here. If you're a Flyers fan, so more to come here. I think this is a good story. See how long they can hold on to that spot. But been fun so far. Mitchkov, obviously the young kid from Russia, 9 goals, 10 assists for 19 points. Oh boy, this guy is legit, and he's just going to get better. We just scratching the surface with this guy. Yeah, I think you got a legit star in the making there if you're a Flyer fan. So um, watch out for that. My biggest surprise. truth be told, is the Minnesota Wild moving out west here, sitting first place in that Central Division. Yeah, I did not see this coming at all. Truth be told, had them 7th in the Central, so, I'm gonna wear the hat tonight and, again, eat some crow. Happy to do it, though. I really like what I'm seeing with this team. Kaprizov is just going off, 15 goals, 23 assists with 38 points. If he does 80% of this production moving forward, I think he's winning some trophies at the end of the year, so, good on him, and listen, this team is still very much in a salary crunch situation. So, they could be a house moving forward. Once they clear out some of that dead money, they can actually go out next season and spend some money in July. With the core they have, obviously Fleury and Net will be retiring, as we know. But yeah, watch out for this team. And to speak to the Net, they have been very good with Gustafson and Fleury. They've been very solid back there. So does it fall off? Do they kind of go back to the mean a little bit for themselves? Maybe. But, heck of a start, and I can't see them falling all the way out of the playoff picture at this point. They're kinda running away with this thing. What are they right now? I've got it right here in front of me, 16-4-4 with 36 points. Just ridiculous, ridiculous start. Uh, Winnipeg Jets, sitting number 2, they got off to the really hot start. They have fallen off a little bit, 4-6-0 over the past 10. I had them as a wild card team, so again, I'm not surprised that they're in the mix. Great goaltending, obviously, with Hellebuck. Um, are they starting to level out though? They've kind of hit a little bit of a cold patch here after such a hot start. Obviously, you can't keep that up forever. You would expect some sort of leveling off, but again, a team that I think is going to be right around this. And of course, we know we're not going to talk a lot about a team like Nashville tonight, but I obviously had Nashville in that second spot, and we talk about Minnesota being such a big surprise. I think Nashville a huge surprise for all the wrong reasons, right? And their season just not getting any better. So listen, if Nashville's gonna bow out of this thing, it's gonna open the door for a team like Minnesota to step up as they have. So good on both Minnesota and Winnipeg for their good starts and leading what I thought was going to be the best division in the league, but I thought it'd be more the Dallases, more the Colorados, those types of teams up there, and more the Nashvilles up there, and kind of flipped on its head a little bit right now. Speaking of Dallas, we do have the Dallas Stars at number 3. Listen, 0 worries here for the Stars. I really don't think it matters if they finish first, finish third in this division. I just think the way they play, it plays well wherever you go. And right now, they're doing this without really huge numbers from Robertson or Johnston. Robertson right now, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points. So kind of a ho-hum start for him. And Johnston right around the same, 4, 10, and 14. So I mean, once they get those guys going, I would say watch out because I think that this team has definitely another gear. And oh man, does Matt Duchene, what a bargain, right? $3 million cap hit for Matt Duchene, 12 goals, 15 assists for 27 points. Money well spent. Good on the Stars. Moving out to the Pacific Division, we have the Vegas Golden Knights, and man, they just keep doing Vegas Golden Knight types of things, don't they? Like they just doesn't matter the players they have, doesn't matter who they lose, they bring in somebody else. They just kind of keep the ball rolling here. Um, yeah, probably not as deep of a team as during their cup year. I think that's a fair thing to say, but they continue to play that aggressive, hard nosed, hard to play against kind of style. It's that Bruce Cassidy style. So good to see, the players fitting well. I do think this team might be a little vulnerable when it comes to injuries. So given where they're at with their cap, they can't survive many injuries. So those top players need to stay healthy and need to continue to produce as they have. And if they do that, I think Aiden Hill's been just fine in net. And you have a guy like Doroveyev, I'm sorry. Really nice start for him. 12 goals, 5 assists for 17 points. So we think he's only like 24 years old. So if they can get production like that out of guys like him deep in their lineup, they're going to be just fine and right around that Pacific, you know, first couple spots I think all year. A little bit of a surprise here with the LA Kings. Good on them. I think they've had a real nice start for themselves. They're sitting second in that Pacific. Obviously, Kopitar and Kempe, seasoned veterans, stars in this league, leading the way with 29 and 24 points respectively. And listen, the goaltending, It has held up so far with the Kemper and Richie or Riddick. But I do expect that to level off a little bit. I do think the long term that could be a worry for them in net. And it's just I don't know. There's something about this Kings team I just can't quite get behind, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's all the first round exits they've had over the years. They've just never quite gotten over the hump, and I really just did not like their off season at all. Um, Maybe it's me being a little bit of a Tom McClellan fan and still a little salty that he got fired. I don't know what it is, but they're sitting second right now. I'm not convinced they stay there. We'll see how it plays out. The Vancouver Canucks sitting third. Um, Quite impressed with what they're getting out of Kevin Lankinen in net so far. 907 save percentage, 2.65 goals against. He came in to Boston a few games ago, and I think it was a shutout. I think it was a 2-0 shutout, if I remember. Uh, Transaction of the year? Hell yeah, right? I mean, for as important as Demko is to this team, you can go out and pull this guy off the scrap heap and throw him in with those numbers. That's fantastic, and it's really helped Vancouver, kind of maintain where they're at, maintain their pace of play. Listen, guys, I do believe though that for this team to have a deep playoff run or a Stanley Cup run, Demko's got to get in there. I don't know how long does this Lankinen thing go on for. Can he hold up all year? Not really sure. I haven't seen it yet, so not sure. But I do think that getting Demko back, if he can come back, could be absolutely huge for this team. But yeah, they're right around where I thought they would be. Second, third in the division is kind of where I had them, and of course Jake DeBrusk fitting in very nicely for the group. 10 goals, 9 assists for 19 points so far. Huh, wouldn't he look good on the second line for Boston? Just what they need, and I will move on because I don't want to break anything right now. Let's move into the wild card positions. Right now, the Edmonton Oilers with that first wild card. My only surprise with the Oilers is they did it again. They did it again. Another just sloppy, slow, inconsistent, just quite honestly unacceptable start for this team. There's no way this team should be sitting this low in the standings. And if you remember, they did it last year. Got their coach fired. Obviously, we know they went on to game 7 of this cup final, losing to Florida, but man, I just thought they would come out like fire bats out of hell this year. I thought they would be so salty losing that game 7 that they would be like, "You know what? We're gonna go out and just smash this league in October, November." And they just kinda came out ho hum. Just really bad losses, really inconsistent play. Um, just again, surprised. I think I called in my predictions that I wouldn't wanna play these guys early because I just thought they would really react to, A, how they started last year and losing in the cup, and they didn't. They didn't. Now, they are 7-2-1 over the past 10. Their big boys are playing big boy hockey, so that's great. Big concern, though, I think, is in net. Skinner has looked a little vulnerable lately. Something to keep an eye on. Do they have enough in net? And if they don't, is that something maybe there's a trade piece out there? Maybe a Gibson from Anaheim, maybe somebody like that comes in. I don't know, but something to keep an eye on. And last but not least, on the other side of Alberta, we have the Calgary Flames. A little bit like Philadelphia, very much a surprise that they're in this spot. For as bad of a start as Edmonton had, Calgary had this just out of no place start, like no expectations, go out there, play hockey, and they played some pretty darn good hockey so far. I will be shocked though if they stay in this playoff picture for long. I think there's a lot of teams right around their number in the standings. Not a ton of scoring depth on this team whatsoever. But Wolf in net has played very well. They definitely have their goalie of the today and of the future, 918 save percentage and a 2.60 goals against average. So, great there. I do fully expect to see teams like Colorado, teams like Utah, pass this team in the Western Conference Finals and move up in that Central Division that we were talking about earlier. And we didn't talk about Tampa because they're technically not on the board right now. It was 3 games. I think they've only played 23 games, but they'll be passing Boston, I would say, fairly soon. They'll be right in that mix as well. So yeah, like I say, that's your board for now. How many of these teams do we think stay in the playoff picture when we come to April? Leave those comments down below. Um, you know, If your team isn't on the board, why aren't they on the board? And do you think they get on the board at some point before the season ends? Would love to hear from you guys on that. So again, thank you so much for watching and listening. I do appreciate it. And if you do like what you're hearing, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Absolutely helps the channel out. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.